Hello and welcome to part 3 of creating a virtual environment using Pyware, Screencast-o-matic, and iMovie softwares. And in part 3, I'm going to skip over this next slide. We already established all this in part 1. And in part 2, we started looking at Pyware animation and how it's possible to put together a Pyware file that when it plays back, you can record things and make it really much more realistic, creating a virtual environment. So in this part 3, we're going to be looking at using animation capabilities in Pyware and how you cater the look of the file to reflect exactly what you're attempting to do. Uniform, the look of the performers, the look of the equipment they're using. We're going to be spending some time with that. All right, so now we're in Pyware, and this is actually part 3 of the virtual pregame, and we're going to look a little bit at animating in Pyware. Pyware has built-in files that you can download and come with the software for uniforms and equipment. However, it allows you to load your own files. So I was able to use a software called GIMP, G-I-M-P. It's a free software that you can download at gimp.org. And it allows you to create your own JPEGs, coloring things, recoloring them. I don't know that I'm really explaining this great. It's a graphics software. And I would try to do a demo of it to put in this video, but I don't think it would be an efficient use of time. I'm just not real great at using the software. I've not been trained on it. Everything I know is kind of trial and failure. And so I just don't feel comfortable doing that in this setting. But if you're interested in doing some of your own work like this, go to gimp.org, download it, and then experiment with it. I haven't found too many tutorial videos on YouTube for using GIMP. You know, it's like it's similar to Photoshop. All right, that's a way to, or I guess it's or some of the Adobe software. So check that out if you're interested. But I created these flags, and then I also, because we are in the Big Ten in pregame, we use 14 flags, one to represent each school. So across the front here, you can see there's Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, Michigan State, and then our own flag. And then on the other side, Minnesota, Northwestern, Ohio State, Penn State, Purdue, Rutgers, and Wisconsin. They don't look as great up close. I'm still learning how to use that software and something about scale. So some of them look pretty good. What I did is I found on the internet on Google, just did a search for Minnesota flag and download that JPEG, bring it into GIMP, and then put it into Pyware. So they, like I said, they don't look great up close. If you're backed away, they get the job done. Okay, you can tell that they belong to those schools. It's well, that's not a great way to show that because we're looking right over their heads, but you can see the different colors and designs. And I haven't quite figured this out either. The size of the flags are bigger than what we would use in real life. However, because they are that size, when you're zoomed out like this in the animation, they show up pretty well. And so that's how I was able to create the look of the equipment for the virtual pregame. The The other feature in Pyware allows you to do animation on an individual basis. So not only how they look, which is in this Visual Editor's menu, Uniform and Equipment, and you can link, what you do is you're linking this to a file that you've created or a file that's built into Pyware, so that they are wearing the right uniform, okay, or carrying the right instrument. Then you can also do things like facing, and I use this to do delay turns, so we can tell the software which way we want the performer to face, and then how many counts to take. All right. We can do visuals like horns up, horns down. We can do horns to the box. So you're doing different poses with the upper body, and then you can also do movement with the upper body. This is what you also use to animate color guard equipment. So you could do spins and tosses with flags or rifles or whatever equipment. And then we have lower body positions or poses, and then movement. So you can have them stand with their feet apart. You can have them, there's a bunch of stuff in here. Okay, so I use this menu to create all the movement that our performers perform or do during pregame. So all the horns up, all the horns downs, a horn above parallel, a delay turn, mark time, all those things are in there. You can also select their march style. So for your percussionists, crab step, you can have a high step. I use that for the march on, because our students, that they pick up the feet a little higher. They're not doing a glide step that we normally do. You can do a baby crawl, army crawl. You can move with the prop. All these things are built into the program and useful. There are some things that may be unique or a tradition with your group that may not look exactly the same using this animation. All right. I'll demonstrate what I'm talking about with facings. We'll just watch this portion of the band during this phrase, and you'll see some direction changes. And it horns up. So able to use that menu, that visuals editor, to work out and put all those things into the file, so it animates you're seeing all of that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this part 3. I think I'll be able to wrap this up with one more short video we'll just look at taking the different portions of the Pyware file, watching a little bit of the animation, and then looking at the video itself, kind of how I put that together. I don't want it to turn into an iMovie tutorial or a Screencast-o-matic tutorial, but we'll look at how I constructed the videos. Thanks, as always. Love hearing from viewers. Please leave me a comment, send me an email.